Hello and welcome, everybody. We are launching a book today because, one, this book is so special, but it's actually a special day. We're going to talk about why today is such a special day at the end of this interview. I have an amazing author with me today, all the way from Africa, and we're going to be talking about his fantastic book. But just before we begin, let me introduce Joshua. And he is the founder and the chief enabler of an enterprising African regional network, and that stands for EARN. And EARN was formed with the overriding goal of creating and enabling an environment for African entrepreneurs, but the youth. So what I love about what Joshua has done here is he is really bringing up the new leaders and the new entrepreneurs. And I know that Joshua's father was an ex-soldier, and he introduced Joshua to entrepreneurship quite early. And now Joshua is really leading the way for so many young entrepreneurs coming through. So welcome to this great launch of your book, Joshua. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Susan. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's really exciting. And I met Joshua, gosh, a while back when we had him as a part of a book called Legacy. And he wrote an amazing chapter, which is all about change makers. And so, yeah, amazing book. And he, along with so many other people, wrote all about different entrepreneurship around the UN Global Goals. And now Joshua has worked with us to create, let's call it a massive, amazing book. Wait till you see this book. It is jam-packed with so much. But tell us a little bit, Joshua, why, you wrote this book, and, maybe a snippet about how you started entrepreneurship so early as an 8-year-old.
I think the very strong parents. My father, when he retired as a soldier, he understood what people wanted, and I saw him as a small boy build 3 businesses from scratch. And he understood what people wanted in the rural setting. But he always took me with him. I remember by the time I turned 5, I used to go with him. So I learned so much about at that age. But when he was killed, when I was only 7, everything that we had was taken away from us, his relatives. And so we became materially poor from abundance. But what was remarkable is that what my mother reminded me was, look, these were your father's things. You will find your own things. And she taught me to have wealth, not money, because with wealth, you can make as much money as you want. So that was the beginning. And what was also remarkable was that she taught us that despite what our relatives did to us, that we should love them. So we learned to love the people that hurt us so badly from an early stage. And so you learn to put aside the things that have happened to you and look forward, because that's where progress starts. Because there's a saying that if you face the sun all the time, the shadows will always be behind you. And that's very, very important. And so that's all where everything started. And so throughout my life, I learned to make money at a very young age, and that's why I'm not so excited about it. But also, I learned to give because having learned, having seen that everything that my father had made was taken away. You realize that when you go, you don't know what may happen to the things that you have. So it's important to make sure that you use everything that you create for the right purpose, because you want to see the impact that you create while you're still here. And so that taught me a lot from a very young age. And throughout my life, that's what I've done, is every time I got something I want to give to others so that they can benefit from the same. And that has brought me to where I am now.
That's amazing. What such great advice from your parents, and such knowledge that you've taken with you, throughout your life, and really coming from that place of giving and being able to see the impact. And I know you've made extraordinary impact in the world, and this is another piece of it. So this is the book. Look how big it is. Look how it's so heavy I can hardly hold it up. And the title is It's Time for Africa: Embracing Our Ancient Roots and Charting a Prosperous Tomorrow. And I think that I just remember when our proofreader was reading through this, and all I was hearing her was going, wow, wow. And I had to walk in the room and say, why are you being so noisy? She said, this book is extraordinary. And I can tell you, we don't usually, we don't get me wrong, all our books are amazing, but she made a lot of noise reading this. She just thought it was truly amazing. So I know that there's so much that you've learned. So why, this impact, obviously this is an impact that you're leaving in the world, but why did you write it? What's your impact that you're wanting to leave in the world with this book?
This book is not just a book, it's a movement. It's a movement that we started in 2014 when we created the Enterprising Africa Regional Network with the aim of empowering our youth who are the leaders tomorrow, so that we can develop them into successful entrepreneurs that would be able to create successful and sustainable businesses in order to increase levels of employment and prosperity. And also, because we are focusing on food and on agriculture, there's another dimension of food security. So it's more than a book, but specifically, I wrote this book because when you look at our continent, Africa has got a number of advantages, and the top three that come to mind are, first of all, you got abundant resources. So most of the essential resources in the world, including various mineral resources, oil and gas, and a major portion of cultivated arable land are on this continent. The second thing is that Africa has got the youngest population on the planet. 60% of the population is under 25 years old, and brimming with energy and ready for innovation and technology advancement. And the third advantage is that the continent has got a warmer climate that allows longer food growing seasons. This would allow Africa to be the food basket of the world. Yet, the people in the world look at the continent as being poor. And I've said myself, poor, really? Most of the corporations in the world, their balance sheets are dependent on the resources that are on and under the soil of this continent. So when you look at all these advantages, I think we can do better. So the reason I wrote the book is to inspire and empower individuals, leaders, and policymakers across the continent to realize the continent's immense potential for economic growth, development, and prosperity. Through this book, despite some challenges we face on the continent, and sometimes we dwell so much on this, and that's why when I was talking about myself, we learned to let the past go and look forward, because that's where development starts. And so despite some of the challenges we face, we know that the continent has got a traumatic past. But my goal is to shed the light on the opportunities and strategies that can drive Africa towards a bright future. Specifically, I wrote this book to, first of all, empower change by providing insights, strategies, and examples of some economic development practices. I aim to empower individuals and decision makers to drive positive change in their communities and countries. The second thing is to promote collaboration. I see a lot of organizations, they come on this continent to exploit, but through this book, I highlight the importance of collaboration, innovation, and open markets. I seek to encourage partnership and cooperation, not exploitation, among various stakeholders to foster economic growth for the continent. Thirdly, I encourage innovation, which is also a passion of mine, by emphasizing the role of innovation and technology advancement in economic progress. I aim to inspire a culture of creativity, problem solving, and forward thinking across our continent. Fourthly, I advocate for economic diversity. See, we depend so much on the selling raw materials and focusing on just one commodity for economic development. So through discussion on diversifying economies and embracing open markets, I advocate for the importance of moving beyond traditional economic models and exploring new avenues for growth. Finally, I want to spark hope. Ultimately, I wrote this book to spark debate, hope, action, and to instill confidence and ignite a sense of possibility in the hearts and minds of all those who believe in Africa's potential to rise and thrive on the global stage. Overall, the book serves as a call to action. I know that we like talking a lot, but we need to put that talk into action. That's what is going to create progress. So the book serves as a call to action, a roadmap for progress, and a beacon of optimism for Africa's journey towards sustainable development, economic prosperity, and a brighter future for all its people. And that's why I wrote the book.
I absolutely love that. And I love, like you said, you know, it's all about collaboration. It's about looking forward. It's about positive change. And this isn't just for the people of Africa, right? This is for so many more people. Tell me, you know, who is this book for? Who would get, you know, a lot out of this? I mean, obviously it's the people of Africa to be inspired, the youth to be inspired, to come along, to be inspired by you. But it's really about everybody else here learning so much and seeing the potential. Is that, you know, is that who you see the readers? Who do you see will pick up your book and get value out of your book?
I think you're right. It's for a wider audience. It's not. I know that it's focused towards Africa, but I wrote it for a diverse audience with a number of groups in mind. First of all, I wrote it for African leaders and policymakers because the book is tailored to African leaders and policymakers at various levels of government who are responsible for shaping economic policies, fostering development and driving positive change across the continent. So the book provides insights, strategies, and recommendations to guide decision-making processes towards sustainable growth and prosperity. See, I did a lot of research, both through reading and also as I travel across the continent to look at all these things. And so I think it is tailored towards African first and foremost. But also, I wrote it for entrepreneurs and business leaders like myself. Because the book is designed for entrepreneurs and business leaders in Africa and elsewhere in the world who are seeking to innovate, expand their enterprises, and contribute to economic development. As you go through the pages, you'll see that it offers valuable perspectives on leveraging opportunities, overcoming challenges, and building successful businesses within the African context. But the book is also tailored towards academics and researchers interested in African economics, stable development, and leadership can benefit from the book's in-depth analysis, case studies, and discussion on key growth pillars. I selected the pillars very, very carefully. So the book serves as a resource to further exploration and study in these fields. I just touch a bit on each of them, but people can take each of the pillars and do an in-depth study and look at its implementation across various countries. The book is also intended for the African youth, which happens to be my passion. These are aspiring leaders and change makers who hold the key to the continent's future. It aims to inspire, educate, and empower the next generation to take an active role in shaping Africa's economic landscape and driving progress. Because if the other ones like ourselves have failed the youth, and I think the youth should be able to take things in their own hands and shape the continent into what they want it to be. But the book also may appeal to international partners, investors, and organizations interested in engaging with Africa's economies, markets, and potential. It provides insights into the unique opportunities, challenges, and dynamics of doing business in Africa, fostering collaboration and mutual understanding. So overall, as you can see, the book is written for a broad audience with a shared interest in unlocking Africa's economic potential, fostering sustainable development, and building a prosperous future for the continent and its people. And in the process, we can contribute more effectively to the world economy as Africans.
I know for us, reading through it and the team, there was so much that we learned and understood, but there's ways of actually learning from, like you said, the pillars. Not only are we learning about, the collaborations that can be done, and this book in the right person's hands, massive change can happen, and the youth, the inspiration and the legacy that you're leaving with this book. But there was so much in here that you can, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, learn from how you're looking, the perspectives that you look at things, the way that you arrange things, the way that you become that leader. So I think that it is a book for leaders and for entrepreneurs to get inside and learn so much about it from your perspective, but really just not only understanding more about the ancient roots of Africa, but just the leadership that you show inside of it. So we're excited to launch it. And I know that today is a special day that we're launching this book. We're going to put the link in below to tell people how to get this book. I mean, it's massive. Like I said, there's so much jam-packed in it. But today we're launching it. Why is today such a special day to launch It's Time for Africa?
Today is Africa Day, and Africa Day is the annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity, which now has been changed to African Union, AU. And so the Organization of African Unity was formed on 25th May 1963 and is celebrated in various countries on the African continent as well as around the world. So this book being about the prosperous future of Africa, I thought that it would be the right time to launch it.
Definitely a fitting day to launch this book for sure. So is there anything else that you want to leave the listeners to? I know that really, honestly, you've got to get in the book. The way that it is written, the simplicity, the easy to understand, the jam-packed of information in here. I mean, it started as probably about 2 to 3 times the size of this book, and now look how thick it is. It took a bit to edit it down.
Because because I had so much material, then when I started writing, and because I was writing and editing in my mind, I think I was getting some author's mental block, and Natalie said to me, "Look, don't worry about editing. Just write and leave the editing to us." And I went all out. And by the time I finished, I found that it was so big that we had to take about half of the material out.
Yeah.
Beware.
So it is, like I said, a great solid book, and I know that Joshua is very proud of the book, and I'm so happy and privileged that you've come with us to be able to share your message here at Dean Publishing. We're honored to again help you as an author to get your message out there. I know that the book's going to be in African bookstores, it's going to be online, it's going to be in Australian stores. So no matter where you are in the world, you can get a copy of this book. We're going to put a link below. I'm sure Joshua is going to be sharing so much more over today and the coming months on getting out there and launching this more out into the world. And we're happy to help you spread this word, you know, of just empowering youth and opening us up to so much history, so much knowledge for us to learn around leadership, collaboration, and the amazing history and the beautiful future that the youth, like you said, I mean, I didn't realize that you had the largest population of youth and things like that. There's so much that I've learned. So it's been a pleasure. We've loved, you know, helping you bring all of your ideas and your knowledge to life. And we're excited to launch this today on Africa Day.
Thanks a lot, Susan, and thanks to the Dean Publishing team. I think this book wouldn't have been where it is now if you didn't approach me the way you did and ask me to write this book. And I'm glad that that approach has brought what was in my head out now into the open for people to read. And I thank you for that.
Beautiful. You are definitely leaving your legacy out in the world for all of these amazing youth entrepreneurs. So thank you so much, and bye everyone, and jump on and grab your book.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks, Helen. Bye.
Bye.